I hate you so much.
My wife used to fart when she was nervous. I'm sorry I shared that with you.
Robin Williams was a true master of his craft, and he could easily make his co-stars giggle without having to try. One such incident can be seen in the critically acclaimed movie Good Will Hunting, where Williams plays a therapist named Sean to Matt Damon's character Will. In order to connect with Will, Sean goes on to tell him a touching story about his love life, but suddenly and abruptly starts talking about her farting in her sleep. This is such a random thing to say in general, so it came as no surprise that Matt Damon couldn't keep a straight face through it and immediately burst out laughing. It helps the scene too, because the reaction completely feels natural and not forced at all.
She woke herself up, yes.
Okay, now, remember, I'm still learning. You know the song. Sing along.
Everyone born in the 90s would easily recognize the blockbuster sitcom Friends. And even though some of the younger generation doesn't find it appealing, there were some scenes that were so hilarious that even the cast couldn't keep a straight face. The scene in question over here is when David Schwimmer's character Ross Geller plays the bagpipes, and in rather horrible fashion. The whole idea of this scene was to make it look funny, as the rest of Ross's friends would just look at him with a straight face. However, Lisa Kudrow's character Phoebe had other plans, and she decided to sing along to the tune, although with no actual lyrics. This was so sudden for the cast that Jennifer Aniston couldn't keep her laughter in check. If you pay attention to Rachel over here, you can see that she's doing her best to keep a straight face, but still ends up giggling. This turned out to be one of the most memorable moments from the show as well.
So?
No!
I hate you so much.
Steve Carell is no stranger to humor, and in one of his most memorable roles, he managed to give us all a scene so iconic and funny that his co-stars just couldn't keep themselves under check. The scene in question is the massively popular waxing scene from The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Now, it's important to note that the waxing is actually real, as Carell volunteered to get his chest hair removed, although he had no idea how much it was going to hurt him. The cries of anguish and the crazed tone we hear from him are very much genuine, as he couldn't keep up with the pain. However, the way in which Carell reacted was so hilarious to his co-stars Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen, and Romany Malco that they broke character and started to smile instead of showing him pity. Even the waxing lady couldn't stop smiling throughout the whole process.
Fucker! You pulled up too! Sweetie pie! ¿Cómo se llama? Grab the children! Save the children!
Will Ferrell and Christina Applegate are a rather unlikely couple, but they somehow managed to make it work in the Anchorman movies, especially Part 2. One scene that really cemented them both, and this movie was when Will's character, Ron Burgundy, does his vocal warm-ups. That is, of course, if you can even call them that. The ridiculous nature of the whole exercise was a bit too much to handle, not just for the audience, but also for Christina herself, who just couldn't keep a straight face here. Just look at her reactions to Ron's apparent vocalizations, and you can see that she's clearly trying to keep it together. She does manage to just restrict it to a few smiles, but as per the cast's own words, this was the most serious take they could get from the whole thing.
Hey, Mia, you better hide your baby, or... I'm just playing.
You better hide that big-ass forehead.
I was just joking.
Dwayne Johnson did not take a lot of time to get used to life as a regular in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I never thought I'd trust a criminal. Till next time.
Till next time.
As a matter of fact, he ended up having such an impact that Ludacris just couldn't keep it together during one iconic moment. This happens right at the end of Fast and Furious 6, when The Rock's character Hobbs meets up with the gang. Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson, tries to mock Hobbs by mentioning baby oil due to his gigantic physique. However, Hobbs gave an instant reply by mentioning Gibson's forehead, which was more than enough to make Ludacris lose his cool. The reaction you're seeing from him is completely genuine and not in character. With the burn that The Rock delivers here, it could also be said that Tyrese Gibson wasn't acting either.
Number 3, step forward.
Fucking keys, you cocksucker, what the fuck?
Number 4, step forward.
The Usual Suspects is a great thriller, made to entertain and also arouse curiosity from any person who chooses to watch it. Naturally, this meant that all the actors had to give it their all when they were shooting. because they needed to maintain a certain vibe for the whole film. However, it looks like one of the actors ended up giving it a lot more than his all, and that man happens to be Benicio del Toro. He was experiencing some severe flatulence throughout the scene, and it led to everyone else breaking into a tizzy. For some reason, del Toro would keep farting at every take, almost as if he was doing it on purpose. The director Bryan Singer wanted this to be a super serious sequence, but he got so annoyed by the reactions of the cast that he ended up using the funny bits of the shot, which have coincidentally become the highlights of this movie. The art of making your fellow stars lose control goes all the way back to as early as 1964. Yes, Dr. Strangelove was a blockbuster flick that gave the world a strong dose of dark humor.
3 lipsticks, 3 pair of nylon stockings. Shoot, a fella could have a pretty good weekend in Vegas with all that stuff.
And leading the charge was Peter Sellers, who played not one, but as many as 3 different roles.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. What is going on here? I demand an explanation.
One of those roles was that of Dr. Strangelove himself, who seemed to have a certain affinity towards certain people. Even if he tried to keep it to himself, his arm would hilariously keep popping up to let everyone know he only believes in the word of the Führer. As it so happens, in this scene, he's having a conversation with the president, also played by Sellers, and he speaks about a plan that very much echoes his ideologies. In the middle of this, his arm goes crazy again, and he beats it down, which his co-star Peter Bull definitely found hilarious, as can be seen in the clip, even though it's in black and white. For such a thing to happen back in those times was extremely rare, which only proves how charismatic Sellers was.
Bend your head. Ha!
In 1969's Easy Rider, there's a scene where Jack Nicholson, Dennis Hopper, and George Harrison are all cozied up and talking about UFOs and aliens. Naturally, this would invite a lot of speculation, and with some of the theories being discussed, it shouldn't come as a surprise that the characters started laughing. However, Nicholson goes a step further and does some really weird movements, which is not something a sane man would do. Later, it was discovered that Hopper had attempted to get his co-stars stoned during filming, and from the way Nicholson breaks character here, it does seem like Hopper got his wish.
What the hell? I have been worried sick.
You stopped off for ice cream.
When the did we get ice cream?
Not a lot of people would remember 2005's The Ringer, but there is one particular scene that the audience and the cast will find hard to forget. It's when Katherine Heigl's character Lynn finds David coming back with the squad and berates him for taking them out in the first place. Naturally, he tries to play it off by saying he was only trying to get some ice cream for everyone. However, Glenn blows everyone's cover with a rather explicit statement, and it was good enough to make Johnny Knoxville burst out laughing. You can actually see it quite visibly in his character Steve, but then the camera quickly pans back to Lynn in order to keep the momentum of the scene in place.
I won't be mad. Just tell me the truth. Where were you guys?
Did you get ice cream?
Like, share, and subscribe if you liked this clip, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Okay then, see you soon.